All right, cool. Welcome to episode 70 of PHP Townhall, Dries'ing up your controllers. We have with us Laravel employee, open source magician, and all around Star Wars enthusiast, Dries. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Matt? Thanks for having me.
Employee, open source magician, and all around. Had the YouTube stream up there for a second, and
okay,
feedback. Cool, awesome. So, we want to bring you on because, like, you were making some noise a couple weeks ago when the whole meetup thing kind of exploded onto the scene with so many of us doing user group organization and things like that. And one of the first things I really want to dive into is Eventi.io. Like you kind of threw that out there almost at the right time. Was that something you were working on prior to the whole meetup thing, or did it just so happen that you had this idea right as the meetup controversy kind of blew up?
Well, no, I definitely was already working on it. I've been a user group organizer for almost 5 years now. And so I've been like a hardcore user of meetup.com as well in that time. And that always saw a lot of improvement points for the platform, some stuff it was lacking in, and also like the diverted landscape in all of the different kind of apps. Like some apps will help you manage your CFP, some will give you feedback on your talks, some will help you organize your events. So I've been having this idea for a while of like a unified platform where you could do all of those things, so you don't need to dash between all of the different kind of platforms. And I was having that idea to already put up an announcement page pretty soon, like just to get some interest, to see if people were interested in the idea. And when the meetup.com announcement came out, I kind of like really shifted into gear to get it cranked up very fast. So I really worked hard on it for the entire evening, put it up to see if people were interested. And as it turns out, people were. There's a lot of other people who are also working on some cool stuff, which is pretty cool, I think, that there's a lot of people thinking there's value in such a platform. So yeah, I've definitely been having this idea for a while, and I'm very glad to finally have it out in the open now that I'm working on it.
Cool. So I remember, the last thing I saw was you're taking email addresses to see if there's interest, and it sounds like there's a lot of interest. Do you kind of have like an idea of when you might start taking in beta users, or is it still kind of far out?
Well, it's still pretty far out. I'm still working very hard on it. It's a big undertaking, of course, what I'm starting, but I'm also not planning on like releasing everything at once. I'm trying to do it in steps. So what I'm currently working on is a minimal viable product, something that's just have the right amount of features to get you started organizing meetups and events, and get that out in the open, and then start iterating, adding more features gradually. And I think like I'm currently aiming for January somewhere to release. If it's gonna be earlier, all for the better. But that's my main goal right now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So right after the Rise of Skywalker is basically what
yeah, exactly. First things first, of course. Yeah.
You can take a break and watch. Obviously, you're gonna. I imagine you're a Star Wars fan, so you're gonna watch every single Star Wars movie, and then go see Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. I've been planning on doing a marathon, maybe. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I have enough time for it. But definitely the last 2 episodes. Again, yeah, definitely those 2.
So if you're going to do a marathon, do you watch them like in theatrical release, or do you do like a butcher order?
No. What's the name again for the special order?
The butcher order.
I think it was something else. I'm not sure. Anyways, there's like a specific kind of order where you can watch the movies when so they make a little bit more sense. So I think it's first now with the new movies. I think it's Solo first, then Rogue One, then Episode 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. I think that's it. Yeah. I think that's the new order. Yeah.
That's how I would do it, except I would leave Episode 1 off personally, but
okay.
The rest of the order sounds great. Yeah. But so because you're a Laravel employee, I'm imagining that you built Eventi on something like Ruby on Rails or Python or anything. Or is it Laravel?
No, it's Laravel, of course. No surprises there. Yeah.
No, not at all. And that's a good segue into the next, like another big project that you've built that was really instrumental for a lot of people early on, which is Laravel.io. But it seems like it's been kind of quiet lately. Is it still getting like the level of traffic that it was a couple years ago?
Yeah, definitely. Like when Sean first started, when I first took over from Sean and Jeroen and Nick back then, it already had quite a big traffic going on. And I really wanted to, like, because I wasn't familiar with code base myself, I wanted to build something I was familiar with so I can maintain it properly. So I did an entire build from scratch thing again. And it made sense. I'm very happy that I did it because I'm now very much familiar with code base. I can like fix stuff very easily and fast. And I really put in a lot of time back then to do it properly, also to keep it open source so it's viewable for everyone, so everyone can look at how the project is made and learn from it. And at some point, the project was like properly done. Enough to maintain its own, to keep rolling on. And I still have lots of ideas for it. It can definitely be something bigger as well. But at the moment, other things are keeping me from working a lot on it. But I have to say, like, someone recently jumped up to help out with it, Joe Dixon, who's also a Laravel community member. And he's helping out a lot with new features, getting some stuff fixed, which I didn't have time for. I'm really thankful for him helping out with those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for a lot of people when we just say, thank you for something like that. Because when I was getting started Laravel, it was instrumental in helping me kind of get over a few hills and roadblocks that I had. So, I mean, something like that's huge. And I'm glad to hear that it's still there, having the impact that it had on me for other people these days too.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's still there. It's still running very properly. It's still getting lots of traffic. People are finding it useful, so I'm happy with it. I really want to like make it even bigger. There are some plans for that, but it's like fairly early on to still talk about that. But I'm hoping that someday it will be a much bigger platform than it is right now. Yeah, so it's even more useful for people. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's gonna be really cool. It'd be really interesting to see the ideas you come up with, because it seems like everything you come up with kind of just turns to gold almost. Like your file repo is still something I look at to get ideas from. Laravel,
thanks, man.
Vinci, full stack. So I mean, I think the real question is, as an open source maintainer, as a conference organizer, as a full-time employee, like how do you, like, what do you do to manage your time?
Stay single. That's my big secret. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll throw to that one.
No, yeah, it's hard sometimes. Like I still find it very hard to like combine my working time with still spending enough time for social stuff, for friends, for family. Yeah, like I wish I could like have even more hours in a day. Unfortunately, I only have 24 and I sleep 1/3 of those. And I really like sleeping. So it's hard, to focus. And I think Freek is my main, my angel on my shoulder, saying you need to focus on one thing, not too much at the same time. And he's right about that. And I'm trying to do that with Eventy right now, to put all of my focus into one single thing, so I can really crank at it, get that out in the open as fast as possible, and put everything on the side for a second. And that I recently, like you said, had the Full Stack Europe conference, and all of my attention went to that for a moment. But now that's out of the way, I have more time for other stuff like Eventy. So I think like the main thing for doing lots of things is doing things one at a time, and keep your focus at one particular thing at one time, and not to try to do 10 times at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you mentioned Full Stack Europe. That just ended. Was this the first year that this was done, or was this?
It was the first year. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
How was it?
It was amazing. We got lots of great feedback from it. Things went very smoothly. We didn't have any big issues at all. We had 250 attendees.
Wow.
We had 16 speakers. They were all very excited about it. I'm very grateful to the staff, to everyone who helped out. And yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was very good as well. Like the talks were very good. What me and Freek really wanted to achieve was a kind of conference where you could come with your whole team, not to have like a particular niche like Laravel or PHP, just like have a really broad spectrum of talks, of things you can learn from front end, back end, DevOps, all of those kind of things, and just like learn from different parts of the stack. And so you can come with all your entire team and not just the JavaScript people or the PHP people or and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think it turned out very, very well in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I saw on Twitter, because I was following the hashtags for a little bit, is, I mean, just outpouring of support and congratulations, which is, you know, it's huge. Organizing a conference is no small feat at all. When you and Freek came up with this idea, did you really have an idea of what it took to organize a conference, or were you kind of just going every one day at a time trying to figure it all out?
One day at a time, really. I've had quite a bit of experience right now with organizing user groups, but conference is like a whole different level of getting stuff done. And me and Freek, we were thinking about doing it small the first time, just one day, single track, nothing too much, just starting small. And then we got in touch with a couple of people who organize the DDD Europe conferences here in Europe, Anneke Schoonjans and Matthias Verraas. And we got talking about them about the concept. They were very interested, and they said like, "Hey, we want to help you out if you're interested. If you want to get us on board, we'll help you out with logistics, event organizing, sponsorships, that kind of stuff." And Freek and I were really on board with that idea. And because of their like experience they already had with the DDD Europe conference, like things went very smoothly. They immediately said like, yeah, you need to do this bigger from the get-go, just do 2 days and a workshop day from the get-go. And because we had their experience behind it, it went very smoothly, it made sense, and we had lots of help from them. I'm really thankful and grateful for them for helping out. Yeah.
So what was the biggest thing about organizing a conference that was unexpected for you going in that that you learned after the fact?
I think the money is one thing. Conferences cost a ridiculously amount of money. Yeah. So like whenever people ask me like, because our ticket prices, I know they're a bit higher than like other kind of conferences. But in hindsight, the place where we were, the Hilton in Antwerp, it's like very, very big venue, very nice venue as well. And the catering they offer is super expensive. Mm-hmm. So we had to like make sure that we broke even at the end. And I think like the money part is something that really opened my eyes at how much these kind of things cost. But in hindsight, it also makes sense. Like if you want to provide a certain experience for your attendees, then things are going to cost money in the end, and you need to like make a way to make amends for that. That, and also like the amount of time it costs to do the small kind of things. Like even though we're with 4 people organizing this thing, like dividing all of the work between each other still takes a lot of time. And I think we were very successful in dividing the work evenly. But still the small things like sending out a newsletter, doing the social media game, all of those kind of small things, contacting the speakers, like every single thing costs a lot of time. And you need to be prepared for putting in that amount of work, or bring in a really great team which is helping you out with that. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I remember that from Southeast PHP. The money was the big thing. And it's a lot harder over here because there's so many more conferences fighting for the little amount of sponsorship money that exists. I'm not sure, like, how was it finding sponsors over there? Did you find it easy? Was it hard to kind of convince companies that it was worth the return on investment?
Well, we were very, very lucky with that, because sorry, because we already had the user groups, we already knew a lot of companies here in Antwerp and in Belgium in general. And a lot of them came out to us spontaneously, like, "Hey, we want to help you out with sponsorships if you want to, if you need something." So that was very, very helpful for us to already have that network of companies which we knew and which wanted to help out with the conference. I'm very thankful for that as well. It definitely helped out kickstarting the whole project and be more at ease about the money thing as well. Yeah.
So what? It sounds like because of such a success, I'm going to imagine that there's going to be a full Stack Europe next year. I don't
Definitely.
want to put words in your mouth or anything, but it sounds like there's going to continue on. So what is one thing like that you want to change about next year?
I think, like, in hindsight, the concept is already very good. Like, I think the single track really worked. The lightning talks we did were a huge success. We got a lot of great feedback on those. So I think, like, program-wise, content-wise, nothing much is going to change. We're still going to do the same thing, just different speakers next year. I think, like, the venue isn't entirely decided upon yet. We really want to keep doing it at the Hilton, but we're keeping our options open, of course. We're still deciding upon that. It's definitely going to be in Antwerp again as well. People really like the city, and I think it's a very good place to host a conference there. I think some things I might change. I'm not sure. I really like everything went very smoothly. I think there are some small parts which we might change, but nothing too big. Anything about the concept, no.
Cool. Awesome. That sounds great. So, I mean, obviously now that you have conference experience, I imagine you're going to start taking over LaraCon from Taylor and running it on both sides of the ocean.
I think that's a whole nother level of conference organizing that he's doing. So no, I'm going to keep it with Full Stack Europe for now. Yeah.
But I mean, so did you ever have a hand in LaraCon EU, or is that pretty much all Sean?
I went at Laracon EU. I went to every single edition since the start. I also volunteered for the first 2 years to help out Sean and Jeroen. Had a lot of fun back then helping out on those first editions. It's really an amazing and great conference. It's by far one of my favorite conferences out there. If it's only like just because of the amount of people I know when I'm there. It's so great to like see people from all around the world again, meeting, hanging out, talking to each other about what's going on in each other's lives. And the venues are always amazing. Jeroen and Sean are really doing an amazing job on those. Like this year they had like an old factory, which they put up a great stage and really made it very cozy and nice. It's a great experience every single year, definitely. Yeah.
So I know you made LaraCon US this year. Is there plans for you to try and make it every single year now, or just as it works out?
Yeah, I think I'm sort of obligated to go every year now. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try to go every single year now. Last year, like this year, I mean, was my first time. Also went there as a speaker. I had an amazing time. It was one of the best conference experience I've already had in my life. It was also really great to finally meet up with all of the American Laravel people, to meet that part of the community for the first time. I had a great time, and like it's a total different kind of experience than the European one. Like Taylor is doing his own thing with the US edition, and it's from what I've seen already from Twitter and experienced it for the first time myself, it's always a great experience as well. The venue was amazing as well. It was right near Times Square, which is pretty crazy if you think about that. I'm really looking forward to next year already. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard rumors that it's going to be in an aquarium in Atlanta. And I've been to that aquarium before because I used to live in it.
Oh, really? Yeah, cool.
There's a tunnel that you can walk through, and you have whale sharks that are like the size of a city bus just moving around you. So I haven't been to a LaraCon yet. But I think if it's in Atlanta, I'm definitely going to make the effort to go to that one because
nice. Would be cool to meet up. Yeah,
it would be. Yeah. Which brings like. I love the point you just made, which is like, you went to the conference, but it was like because wasn't necessarily just for the learning, but it's like to catch up with friends and see all of that kind of stuff. Out of all the American Laravel developers, is like there anyone like you were particularly excited to finally put a face to their Twitter profile?
I think I know one person in particular. Yes, it's Ninja Parade from Twitter. If you know him, Yas.
Oh, Ninja Parade.
He's like he has a sort of character on Twitter. He's always super funny. He has the biggest collection of Drake memes, gifs you've ever seen. He's Canadian as well, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, is he?
But like it was finally really great to meet him up in person, and it turns out he's a really, really amazing and friendly guy as well. He's a great person to talk to. I talked to him for a really long time about a lot of things, and was really great to meet him. But also a ton of other folks like Jonathan Rennick was the first time I saw him. First time I met Steve Sugar as well. First time I met Jason McCreary as well. First time I met Caleb Porzio as well. It was very great to meet all of those people for the first time. Oh, and Jacob Bennett and Michael Duranda as well. And Eric Barnes as well. All of those American side of people. And the Australian, of course, side of people. It was great to finally meet that side of the community. But I already knew their faces, but to meet them in person, it's a bit different, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And because like everybody from Twitter, Slack, Telegram, wherever, like it doesn't feel like you're just meeting them for the first time either.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you've already know each other for so many years, and you're finally meeting up in person, but it doesn't really feel like the first time. You're just finally there talking in person, not through a digital wall or anything.
Yeah.
I think the main the weirdest part was like how tall people are and how small people some people are. It's very fun to like Jacob Bennett is like a really tall dude. Like when you see him for the first time in life, and I didn't expect that at all. So it was really cool to finally like put some physical length to the people you talk to each day as well. Yeah,
because I know cool. Like I always see the picture of the guys from the San Diego development group, Eric and John. They're both incredibly tall. But then you see Eric Barnes, who's incredible.
Eric is very small, yeah. But he's a really funny dude. He's a really cool guy. He was taking pictures all the time, taking selfies with people, and yeah, he's the same guy from Twitter. Really funny, really cool in person. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he only lives about 5 or 6 hours away from me, but I've actually never gotten to meet him. But he's definitely one on my list that like I do want to sit down and have a drink with, because he just seems so down to earth and funny and chill. Like
definitely, yeah. I think he also does a lot of biking, like you do. I'm not sure, so maybe you can hang out.
Yeah. But we talk about that too. Like we talk about that. We both do photography. He seems like the cool guy that like everyone just wants to kind of be friends with, and we're the same height, so I don't have to like break my neck looking up.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But so, the big thing that I think people are curious about is like, how did you end up working for Laravel? Like how did that whole thing happen? Did Taylor approach you, or was it just kind of pure happenstance?
Well, the thing is, I've known Taylor already for quite a long time. I think I first got into Laravel in 2012, I think, was the first time I started experimenting with it. And I've always like been pretty much active on the repos, trying to help out with issues, trying to contribute a little bit. And it was last year when my previous job was coming to an end, and I was thinking about what I'm going to do next. And I really wanted to try freelancing again, because I tried it before, but it didn't really work out. So I worked a couple of years as an employee again. And Taylor put out an ad for a new position in March last year to manage open source projects at Laravel. And I didn't really reply to it because I was still working then. But when my previous job was coming to an end, like 2 or 3 months after it, I thought like, yeah, what I'm going to do now. I remember him putting out that ad, and I was like, yeah, let's just give it a try, see what he says. So I approached him. I said like, hey, are you still looking for someone for that position? Maybe I can try it out if you're interested in that. And he said like, okay, yeah, let's try it out. So we did like a 2-week trial in October last year. And it went very smoothly. He was happy with the work I did. I was very happy with the work I was doing, and it just went from there. Yeah, I'm still working there for over a year now already. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you manage pretty much all the open source packages under the Laravel namespace, right?
Yeah, a lot of them. Not all of them. Telescope is still Mohammed's thing, and Valet is still managed by Matt. And there's like a couple of other smaller packages who are managed by different people. But I'm trying to like manage all of the other bigger projects. Taylor's still doing the pull requests himself, but I'm trying to focus on the issues that are coming in, trying to see like which ones are very urgent, which ones aren't, which ones I can help out people with, which ones are better asked on maybe a support channel. Trying to manage that for the Laravel organization. Yeah. Mm.
So what has been like the biggest like hurdle to get over with like your job just being so out in the open for everybody to see?
I think like a lot comes down to people management, because you need to be very like thoughtful about how people are going to react to whatever you like try to say to them. I think you need to have a lot of patience and also a lot of understanding for people's problems. Like maybe something small seems small to you, but not to somebody else. You need to like try to put yourself in the position of the person who's trying to post their issue with you. And I think a lot comes down to understanding and being thoughtful about a person's issues. I use a lot of safe replies myself from GitHub, because those really help me getting my job done much faster. I need to like wade through, I don't know, like 60 issues a day or something every single day. And like sometimes it's just too much and I need to use those saved replies to get through them quickly. And I really hate that part of my job a little bit, that I can't like put in enough personal time into each issue. Because it feels like very impersonal to the other person probably. And I wish I could do that differently, but unfortunately like there's no other option for me to do that and still like do the work I need to do every single day. And that's a really big hurdle to get over in the first time. You get used to it after a while, but at the same time it's kind of a downside that you get used to it. I still hope that there's something GitHub can do in that regard to make that easier. Adam Watan actually tweeted something very interesting recently. He tweeted about like having a discussions tab in GitHub as well. And that would really help actually, if like every single thing you wanted to post started as a discussion, and then a maintainer of a project can maybe elevate something to an issue that's maybe something that can be resolved. But then you didn't need to close anything. Like every single discussion can stay open. People can comment on it if they want, and if it's a bug or a problem, then it can become an issue, and the maintainer of a project can fix that. So I really like that idea by Adam.
Yeah, I saw that tweet too, and it's really interesting because I help maintain Fractal, and I mean we have the same kind of thing. People are posting issues that are just like they're not true bugs, you know, and then like the real bugs get lost in the whole signal to noise ratio. So like having a panel would be really cool to like get that started. It's almost like Laravel.io could kind of fill that space initially, except that there's still no connection between GitHub and Laravel.io like seamlessly like that. But
that's the biggest issue, because like there's like so many support channels you can use. Like you have the Laracast forums, you have Laravel.io forums, you have the Discord channel, the Lara chat, Slack. You have Stack Overflow. You have so many different places where you can like find solutions to your problem. But of course, when somebody has a problem, the first thing they think about is of course the GitHub repo. So that's really hard. That's a burden on the maintainer to like go through all of those things which could have been asked on a support channel first and probably would have been solved there. So if GitHub could do something in that regard to help out with that part of maintaining open source projects, I think it would be so beneficial to a lot of open source projects. Yeah.
No, agreed. 100% agreed. So, you already knew the framework really well going into your job, but were you as like well-versed in all the packages that you're maintaining, like Cashier, Socialite, and all that kind of stuff? Or did you really have to take some time and like just dive in?
Yeah, definitely. Like the first couple of months were very rough, like trying to figure out some stuff. Like Cashier was something I already knew quite a bit because I already worked on an app like a couple of months before, which was heavily making use of Cashier, and I sort of like knew the package inside out. Like by now, I know it. I definitely know it inside out because the last couple of months I worked on it a lot for the new version. Like some of the packages I'm still trying to figure out until this day is Horizon. That's crazy voodoo that's happening inside of that package. The code base is huge, and it's like a lot of stuff that I'm not entirely familiar with yet. So I'm relying a lot on Mohammed to help me out with that because he knows it very well, and Taylor, of course. So yeah, there's still like also still a learning curve for me as well with some of the packages. Passport is something I fairly well known, but would want to know even better all of the OAuth stuff that's happening there. Makes use a lot of a package behind the hood from the PHP League OAuth 2 server. Besides that, we have Scout, which is pretty simple. It's like a wrapper around the Algolia API. And Dusk is a very straightforward package as well for Selenium based, not Selenium based testing, Chrome browser based testing. And all of the other packages are very small in comparison to those I just mentioned. Yeah, but there's always like a bit of a mind shift between all of the packages. When you're working on Cashier, it's a totally different kind of thing than Passport, for example. Yeah.
So do you work on the Laravel framework as well, or is your job pretty much just the packages that kind of support and integrate with Laravel?
It's basically all of the open source software, mostly the packages I'm focused on, but framework as well. I try to like put in some fixes now and then when it helps. But the difference between the framework repository and the package repository is that the framework repository has a lot more people that are watching the repo and like trying to help out. And that's something that I particularly am super grateful for in my job, that it's such a vast and large community that there's always like people helping out with the issues as well, that I don't need to like put in all the work myself. For example, the framework has like, I don't know, like 10 people who are very thoroughly watching it every single day. And they help out a lot with answering questions, fixing things, trying to figure things out. And I'm super grateful to those people helping out. They're a big help in getting the job done every single day. Yeah.
Nice. So like if someone wanted to get more involved with the Laravel community, what is a way they can go from just being, I hate to say just, but like from being a developer who uses Laravel to like elevating themselves more in the community? Like, is it helping with issues? Is it evangelizing the packages? Is it trying to make pull requests, tests?
Well, I think helping out with issues is definitely a way to like get your name out there. If people see you a lot commenting on issues, helping out, putting in your opinion in there, that's definitely something that can help. That's a very like low step barrier to across and to like get your first step into open source programming. Second step would be to put something out there yourself. Try to start an open source project yourself, a package which you can maintain, which could be very useful to others. That's something how other people got a lot of traffic and name visibility out there. And thirdly, if you're up for it, start something really cool, like something Jonathan Rennick started with Inertia, or or something. Caleb started with Livewire, something bigger. And I think those are still like the main things people really recognize you for. If you put something out there that's super useful to so many people, like Adam and Steve did with Tailwind, that's something that will definitely get your name out there and get you known. But if you just want to like take your first steps, try to help out with an issue, try to fix something, try to get your name out there through a pull request, and try to help out with open source.
Yeah. It's cool you mentioned Adam and Steve, because I can't think of a single project I've done in the last year or so that didn't have Tailwind. And I mean, they've made CSS just as easy as y'all have made social login with Socialite. Like, I don't even have to think about all the different tokens or endpoints. I just bring the package in, write my little services, and things just work. Go ahead.
Yeah, fully agree with that. Like, Tailwind is something, like, one of the things in the last couple of years that really blew my mind. I used to be also a front-end developer in my first years as being a web developer. And I did a lot of like CSS, JavaScript back then. Was mostly jQuery back then. But I kind of got out of touch with that in the last couple of years when I was really focused a lot on backend. And Tailwind really like brought back my joy for front end again, for doing CSS, for doing theming, that kind of stuff. It's amazing how well it works, how I'm doing everything for Eventy right now with Tailwind, and it's just a real joy to work on. And in hindsight, it's incredible what they've built. Like, they took on like bigger frameworks like Bootstrap and whatnot, and they said like, we're just going to do our own thing, and it really blew up. Like, I even saw like recently the new Diablo 4 website. It's entirely built in Tailwind. And if those kind of big companies are starting to use your framework, then you know you have something that's really worth some gold. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. You might not know this. I'm curious. Do you know, like, what is the biggest company using Laravel? Like,
oh wow, I'm not sure myself. I think a better person to ask that is Taylor, but I think some pretty big companies are using it. I even thought, I'm not sure, that the American government was using Laravel for something. Okay. I think I saw that passing by somewhere on Twitter sometimes. But I'm not sure. You'll have to ask Taylor. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, I think it'd be cool. I know Apple uses it because I see job posts.
Yeah,
every so
that's
often.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The government has so many different things. It's a black hole of everything. So it definitely could be out there. I don't know. But the last Laravel question before we dive into Star Wars is, when you're starting a Laravel project, like, what is, outside of the framework, what is like the one Laravel package you always bring into your project?
That's a very good question. I'm going to think about it for a minute. Like, Ignition is definitely something that's always there from now. And I have to say, like, thing Marcel and Freek and all the people at Beyond Code and Spasi did with that is really amazing. Like, our debugging has become so much better these days. I would want to say that I brought in event source now for event sourcing. But for Eventy, I've decided to like not try that from the beginning, because it's like a lot of work still to do everything in an event source way from the get-go. But I definitely am planning on bringing that eventually. But I would say, like, at the moment it would be Ignition. Yeah, definitely.
And you were working with Frank to do like a Laravel wrapper around event sauce, right? Is that
exactly?
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm still working on it. The first version is out there already, but it still needs some love before we can crank out a 1.0. The thing is, like, Event is taking up a lot of my time right now, and eventually it will make its way into Eventy. So it's definitely going to get some work done in the future, but I can't say when right now already. But Frank's base package event source is already pretty much stable. It has a lot of great features, adds some good documentation all ready to get started with. And you can basically take that and the current Laravel wrapper and already get started. You just don't find as much documentation for the Laravel wrapper just yet. But you can always ask me questions on Twitter. I don't mind answering them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're always on Twitter answering questions, helping people out, which kind of like goes back to my question a while ago, which is how do you do it without burning out? But yeah, I mean, it's a huge effort that you do. One last question. What is an essential non-Laravel PHP package, in your opinion?
Non-Laravel PHP package. Let me think about it. I really like Marco, his what's it called again? The package that checks your versions for vulnerabilities. I kind of forgot what it's called again. I try to add that to a lot of my own projects because it helps me like keep in check like these kind of packages have vulnerabilities, these kind of have not, and Composer will warn you about that. So that's a pretty cool one. I guess it's a little bit less relevant right now because GitHub has built-in support for that right now in their recent update. I think they're now doing like CVE checks as well automatically with Pandabot. But it's still like a very useful package, in my opinion, to have in your project. I think he also really maintains that very well to make sure that you're always up to date with the latest vulnerabilities. Yeah.
Yeah, the package is the Rove Security Advisories.
Right.
But like
one, yeah.
Now GitHub does do the whole checking on your own, like on their own. And they became a CVE. What's the word I'm looking for? Like they can issue CVE. Now.
Yeah, licensed, I think. Yeah, or something. Yeah,
which is awesome. Like I think that feels a great spot for GitHub. I know people were worried about Microsoft buying them, but I think they've done a pretty good job so far.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like at first when I saw the message, I was also like a bit scared, like, oh God, where is this going to lead? Like GitHub has been one of my favorite companies out there, but like they've done some pretty cool stuff in the last couple of years. Like I think like the acquiry was all for the better. If I see the path that GitHub is currently taking, how well they're focusing on developer experience, on user experience, like they're definitely heading to the right direction, and really grateful that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So is Rey the son of Skywalker?
Daughter, you mean?
Or daughter? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No.
No?
I don't think so. No.
You think she's related to anybody, or is she really just...
That's a very good question, because what Kylo said, that she's nobody, I don't really buy that. I think that was just like diversion or something, but I'm not sure. I think like her story still needs to unfold in a way we don't expect. I don't think she's related to Skywalker. I think that's too obvious for the story and what people will expect. I still think we haven't seen the last of that just yet. Yeah. I must say that I'm very excited for the last movie. Like, I'm also like probably one of the few people who really hated the episode 8. I really didn't like it at all. I have an entire rant on my blog if you want to read through that.
Wait, do you really?
So definitely check that out. But it's like the trailer that I saw for episode 9, it was amazing. Like there was just like one tiny thing I disliked about the trailer, but the rest was very cool. Yeah.
So what did you dislike though?
Oh, like I'm not sure if people already saw the trailer and didn't want to get spoiled. So fair warning, trailer spoiler right now. There's like one part where they're like riding some animals across the Star Destroyer, and I was like, in my mind it was going like Disney, and I was like, God no, please don't. So that was the only part I disliked about the trailer. Yeah, but the rest was really great. Yeah.
All right, last fun question. I've taken up a lot of your time this afternoon.
No worries, man. Yeah.
If you could pilot any ship in the Star Wars universe, which one would it be?
Wow. That's a very hard question. I wanted to say the Millennium Falcon, but I actually also want to like I guess you can't really pilot a Star Destroyer. You need quite a few people for that.
It can be the
I
Laravel
guess
Star Destroyer.
what?
It can be the Laravel team Star Destroyer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're only with 4 people, but we can make it work. No worries. Yeah. I guess like there's like 10,000 people working on a Star Destroyer or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, Star Destroyer, going for that. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Dries, it's been great talking to you. Where can people find
Likewise.
you on Twitter? What's your Twitter?
My Twitter handle is @Dries Vints, just my first and last name combined. I also have a blog at driesvints.com.
Cool.
That's the places where you can find me. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll throw those in the show notes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I think
Thanks for having me.
Cool.
Cool. Bye, man.
See you later.
See you later.